At first glance, the Pixel 10a looks basically identical to the Pixel 9a, just small tweaks here and there. But after interviewing a Google Pixel product manager, I found out some of those small tweaks are actually pretty interesting. For example, the battery is no longer glued to the board like on the 9a, so the repairability of the phone is improved. There is a new OLED display that's slightly brighter and more power efficient. Google says battery life should improve thanks to a new modem, and just like the Pixel 10, the 10a now supports satellite emergency connectivity in certain regions. That said, the chipset is still the same on Pixel 10a compared to the Pixel 9a, and that's the first differentiator between Pixel 10a and Pixel 10. Pixel 10a is still using Google Tensor G4, while Pixel 10 is using Tensor G5, which is produced in TSMC Foundry, unlike G4 that was produced in the Samsung Foundry. Based on our previous benchmarks, we have a good idea how much faster Pixel 10 would be compared to Pixel 10a. For example, in single-core, Tensor G5 gets 2297, while Tensor G4 gets 1704. In Geekbench multi-core, Tensor G5 gets 5166, while Tensor G4 gets 4018. For graphics performance, the Tensor G5 gets 3277 on 3DMark, and Tensor G4 gets 2655. That said, in day-to-day tasks, it is unlikely that you will find a difference between the two phones, as Google has good optimization and smooth animations. The other difference between the phones is the design. The Pixel 10 has this classic Pixel look with elevated camera housing on the back, which houses 3 cameras. Pixel 10a, on the other hand, has a completely flat camera housing, and it does not even have the tiny camera bump that Pixel 9a had. The Pixel 10 has Google Snap with a glass back that lets you attach accessories without the need for a case, while Pixel 10a is using a plastic back. Both phones are IP68 dust tight and water resistant rated. They both have a 6.3-inch display. The bezels on Pixel 10 are of course smaller. Also, Google Pixel 10a is using Gorilla Glass 7i, while Pixel 10 is using Gorilla Glass Victus 2, and just for your information, Gorilla Glass Victus 2 has higher shatter resistance. I did not measure the PWM on the Pixel 10a, but it does appear to me it is the same story as previous generations, and you're looking at a 240Hz display, which is not a great news for PWM sensitive folks. As you can see, the rate that the screen is refreshed is rather low. One of the main differences between the two phones is that the Pixel 10a has a dual camera setup, while Pixel 10 has a third 5x telephoto camera. With the Pixel 10 main camera being downgraded from Pixel 9, now Pixel 10a and Pixel 10 basically have the same camera spec, which would be a 48 megapixel f1.7 25mm wide 1 to 2 inch sensor. This sensor is the smallest sensor size you can find these days on any phone, flagship and mid-range included. The ultra-wide camera on both phones is also a similar 13 megapixel one, which makes the review job easier because you can simply watch the Pixel 10 camera comparison if you want to see camera samples. Funnily enough, the Pixel 10a has a better 13 megapixel selfie camera compared to the 10.5 megapixel selfie camera on Pixel 10. They both support main camera features on Pixel phones. For example, the Camera AI Assist, where you can point at a certain scenario and the Pixel phone will tell you exactly how to frame the shot, what zoom to use, and what to focus on to have a better picture. Here it told Sonia to focus on products and zoom slightly for better framing. Regarding battery life, the battery capacity of Pixel 10a is slightly higher at 5100 mAh compared to 4970 mAh on Pixel 10. But it is hard to tell which one actually lasts longer, considering they are running on different chipsets, but I assume they should be close. I also asked the product manager of Pixel team why they didn't use silicon carbide, in which she mentioned the longevity of that technology and the fact that the Pixel team is still closely monitoring the pros and cons of using it. Regarding software, they both run the same Android 16 and both support 7 years of software support, meaning their phones get updates until 2033, by which we probably have faced the doom of human race. Now, should you get Pixel 10a or Pixel 10? To me, they seem very similar. Pixel 10 has a third telephoto camera, a better chipset, and a slightly better display. Pixel 10a, on the other hand, is most likely cheaper as often the Pixel A series goes on heavy discount. The battery is not glued to the board anymore, it is now IP68, has satellite connectivity, and gets all software features on Pixel 10. If you want to spend a little bit more money and see how Pixel 10 compares to Pixel 10 Pro and Pixel 10 Pro XL, you can watch this video next. Thanks for tuning into Tecmo, and I will see you in the next one.